So this will be the second factor or quality, sorry for that, quality that we need to consider when we want to have a high quality classroom test instrument. This is the reliability. So when we say reliability, this refers to the consistency of the measurement. Okay? How consistent the test scores or other assessment results from one measurement to another measurement. It is one of the most important characteristics of assessment instrument next to validity. Okay? So reliability refers how dependably or consistently a test measures a characteristic. Okay. If a person if a person takes the test again, will he or she get a similar test score or a much different score? A test that yields similar scores for a person who repeats the test is said to have or to measure a characteristics of reliability. How do we account for an individual who does not get exactly to the same test every time he or she takes the test? Okay? First is we need to think possible reason or possible reasons, and one of the reasons that might cause this similar result or not similar result of the two exams or of the exams took by a particular person is the test taker's temporary psychological or physical state. Baka factor ito kasi say for example you are taking an exam, okay, for today. On the next day you will again take the exam. Kung ano yung physical or psychological state mo ngayon or physical state mo ngayon, it will be a factor that that will cause unequal result. Okay, for with respect to the exams that you to the test items that you are taking. So mag-iba yung perception mo. Ang perception mo ngayon or yung psychological state mo ngayon while taking the exam is iba yung magiging psychological state mo for the second take. Baka tata na may panagpanunot tayo, pero later on for the second time na iti-take mo itong exam, iba na yung attitude mo in answering, iba na yung psychological state mo or yung physical state mo in answering the problem. Iso nga automatic, expected na mag-iiba na yung result ninyo. So that will be a factor, that is a factor to consider kung bakit or reason kung bakit nag-iiba yung mga results ng mga exam ng mga individuals when they take the exam twice. Okay? Another factor is the environmental factor. Baka ngayon, sobrang lamig, kaya ang taas ng nakuha mo, sobrang lamig ng classroom mo, pero after the test, pinag-exam ka ulit ng teacher mo, pero in different place, medyo napudot. So that nag-cause na siya ng another score. Okay, nag-cause na siya ng another score kasi bimaba score mo kasi mapudpudutan ka unay, gusto mo nang matapos yung exam mo. So yan ulit ay isang rason, alright? Yan ulit ay isang rason kung bakit nag-iiba yung mga test results ng mga bata o ng isang test taker. Okay? So environmental factor. And of course the test form. Many tests have more than one version or forms. Items differ on each form, but each form is supposed to measure the same thing. Okay? Different forms of tests are known parallel form, yung sinasabi natin kanina, similar test, or alternate forms. These forms are designed to have similar measurement characteristics, but they contain different items. Because the form are not exactly the same, a test taker might not do better on one form than on another. So dito na natin i-check. Meron bang concurrent validity itong dalawang test na ito para matawag nating para at least malesen yung itong rason na ito para matanggal natin itong reason na ito kung bakit magkakaroon ka ng unreliable result or inconsistent score on that particular exam. So yon. So make sure that when you are giving two sets of exam, make sure that the test form is really the test forms that you are presenting in the first set and the test form that you are presenting in the second set are similar or are parallel in nature or they are alternate in nature. So how do we check? Pwede yung concurrent validity natin kanina. Okay? And multiple raters. Say for example in a product-based assessment, you are giving a product-based assessment and you considered several raters in checking the product made by your learners. So if you consider multiple raters, this may be a reason kung bakit magkakaroon ng unstable scores ng mga bata, unreliable score ng mga bata, kung magkakaroon yan ng bias in terms of their of scoring the product. Kasi yung multiple raters may cause inconsistency. Kung sino yung nag-rate dito sa product na ito, iba dito sa nag-rate ng product na ito. So magkakaroon niya ng multiple raters. So ang possibility magiging inconsistent yung rating ng isang product. Okay? So that is also another reason kung bakit nagkakaroon ng inconsistent scores, kung bakit nagkakaroon ng mga dissimilar test results on a particular exam. So multiple raters, tandaan ninyo, first is test taker's temporary psychological or physical state, second is the environmental factor, and third is the test form, and the fourth one is the multiple raters. These are all possible reasons kung bakit nagkakaroon ng unstable or inconsistent results of learners test results. Okay? So take note on that. So this is still on the reliability. Now take note that reliable tools produce dependable, repeatable, and consistent information about people. In order to have a meaningful interpretation on test scores, okay, make a useful employment or in order to meaningfully interpret test scores and make useful employment or career-related decisions, you need reliable tools. Okay, this brings us to the next principle of assessment. Do not expect to find a test with perfect reliability. Hindi natin mapi-perfect yung reliability, pero ang target natin at least mataas yung reliability index ng ating test instrument. We cannot do or we cannot have. Wala pang nakakagawa ng perfect reliability test instrument. Pero however, ang target pa rin natin is to at least increase the reliability of our test instrument. Now take note that how to increase the reliability. Pwedeng pwede natin i-consider yung we need to test or we need to construct exams than needed. We need to construct number of items than needed. So the more the items, the more valid ko na tayo tatay, pero the more the items, the more reliable din siya. Okay? There are several types of reliability estimates. It's influenced by different sources of measurement error. Test developers have the responsibility of reporting the reliability estimates that are relevant for a particular test. Before deciding to use a test, read the test manual and any independent reviews to determine if its reliability is acceptable. The acceptable level of reliability will differ depending on the type of test and reliability estimates used. Okay? So there are types of reliability estimates, or these are also the methods in achieving high reliability of our classroom test instrument. And one of which is our test-retest measure, of which it measures stability. Okay, test-retest. This is the first method in increasing reliability or in checking the reliability of our test instrument. When we are doing test-retest, of which the purpose is to measure stability of the instrument, it indicates repeatability of test scores with a passage of time. Okay, this estimate also reflects that stability of the characteristic or construct being measured by the test. It is important to note that some constructs are more stable than others. Okay, take note on that. For example, an individual's reading ability is more stable over a particular period of time than that individual's anxiety level. Therefore, you would expect a higher retest reliability coefficient on reading tests than you would on a test that measures anxiety. For constructs that are expected to vary over time, an acceptable test-retest reliability coefficient may be lower. Now, to be able for you to come up or to do test-retest reliability, we will be giving the test twice, okay, administering the test twice to the same group of respondents or same group of people with any time interval between tests from several minutes to several years. And for the results will be correlated, okay, since we'll be having twice or different data. And this data will be correlated using the Pearson product moment correlation. Okay? Another method that we can use or we can utilize when checking the reliability of the test instrument is we can check the parallelism or parallel or equivalent form. It measures equivalences or parallelism. Ito yung second one, okay? Parallel or equivalent form. And the main purpose is to check the equivalence between two given test item or test instruments. Are they really parallel or what? So it indicates how consistent test scores are likely to be if a person takes two or more forms of a test. You need to note that a high parallel form of reliability coefficient indicates that the different forms of the test are very similar, which means that it makes virtually no difference with which version of the test a person takes. On the other hand, a low parallel form reliability coefficient suggests that the different forms are probably not comparable. They may be measuring different things and therefore cannot be used interchangeably. Okay? Now, to be able to check the parallelism between two instruments, you will be giving two parallel forms of tests or two exams with close time interval between forms. Okay? So, dalawang instrument ang gagamitin natin dito. And we'll be utilizing the Pearson product moment correlation coefficient again for you to be able to check the reliability index of the test instrument. So, that is the second one, the parallel equivalent form. The third is inter-rater reliability. Inter-rater reliability. It indicates how consistent test scores are likely to be if the test is scored by two or more raters. Tatlo yung judge, dalawa yung judge, or more than three yung judge natin, yung mga judges natin. So, this is inter-rater reliability. On some tests, okay, raters evaluate responses to questions and determine the score. Differences in judgment among raters are likely to produce variations in the test scores. A high inter-rater reliability coefficient indicates that the judgment process is stable and the resulting scores are reliable. So dapat magkakaroon yan ng agreement on the part of the raters para magkaroon ng high reliability when it comes to inter-rater reliability. Okay? Note that inter-rater reliability coefficient are typically lower than other types of reliability estimates. If you are comparing, for example, another reliability estimate to this inter-rater reliability, expected na mas mababa lagi yung kanyang index. Okay? However, it is possible to obtain higher levels of inter-rater reliabilities if raters are appropriately trained. So kasi factor yung knowledge ni rater to rate a particular construct or particular exam. No nakapuso ng ag-rate, hindi niya alam yung mga do's and don'ts in giving scores, yung step by step process when giving scores, that will be a factor. So dapat to at least have a high level of inter-rater reliability, you need to make sure that your raters are well trained, okay, in terms of scoring. When it comes to scoring, we can use the Kendall's coefficient. Kendall's coefficient of concordance to check the agreement of the raters. Kendall's coefficient of agreement. Pwede natin gamitin ito if we are checking or if we want to check if there is really agreement between and among our raters. The fourth one is internal consistency reliability. Okay, internal consistency reliability. It indicates the extent to which items on a test measure the same thing. Is our test instrument have an internal consistency? Okay? Note that a high internal consistency reliability coefficient for a test indicates that the items on the test are very similar to each other in content. So in this case, our items are homogeneous from each other. So in that case, masasabi nating meron siyang internal consistency. Kasi in the first place, homogeneous yung mga items natin. It is important to note that the length of a test can affect internal consistency reliability. The length of the test, so the number of items that we are giving in a particular exam. For example, a very lengthy test can spuriously inflate the reliability coefficient. Yun yung rason. A very lengthy test item can spuriously inflate the reliability coefficient. Tests that measures multiple characteristics are usually divided into two distinct components. Okay? Manuals for such tests typically report a separate internal consistency reliability coefficient for each component in addition to one for the whole test. So this is internal consistency, which is the fourth method in checking the reliability of our test instrument. Another one is the test-retest with equivalent form. This is now the combination of the two forms that I have presented. Test, retest yung una, and equivalent form yung pangalawa. Now, this method is a combination of two types or of the types which are test, retest, and equivalent form. As what I'm saying a while back, give parallel forms of tests of which we need to increase time interval, okay, between these forms. After which we will again compute for the Pearson R. Then if the result or if the index that we have computed will be considered a high or very high index, then magkakaroon niya ng test, retest with equivalent form reliability. Okay? So ito yung dapat natandaan natin when we are checking the reliability of our test instrument. Now, make sure that if you are checking the internal consistency of our test instrument, we can utilize the split half method, okay, of which we have already discussed in the validation techniques or in the validity of a test instrument. So pwede mo pa rin gamitin si split half method. Or if you prefer another formula or another way in checking the internal consistency of our test instrument, pwede mong gamitin si Kuder-Richardson formula. So ang gagawin natin in the Kuder-Richardson formula, we will give the test once, then correlate the proportion and percentage or percentage of the students passing and not passing a given test. So ito yung focus ni Kuder-Richardson. I-measure pa rin niya yung internal consistency ng ating test instrument, pero we will just administer the test once. Okay? Kasi ang target natin is yung proportion, i-correlate niya yung proportion ng passing and not passing, yung proportion ng my students who pass and who did not pass the item. So yun yung target ni Kuder-Richardson formula. I'll be presenting to you the process as to how to do the Kuder-Richardson formula, okay, later. So this is one way in checking the stability of the test instrument. We will administer the test instrument twice. Yung first administration, say for example, ito yung kanyang result. Then second administration, yan yung kanyang result. How do we know if the result or the scores of the students are stable or not on that particular exam? We will again do correlation analysis in this case. Okay, correlate natin yan. Then for the next slide, ito naman yung gagamitin natin or yung possible way natin when checking the parallelism of the two exams. So you administer the first exam and administer the second exam, and this will be the result. Okay? So you correlate again the two exams para magkaroon ka ng reliability index. Mababa ba or mataas? Depende sa index natin. And for the split half method, ito na yung ginawa natin doon sa validation. Step 1 for the split half method is to divide the test into equivalent halves. So pagkadwaam, you divide the number of items into 2. Then the result will be correlated. So ito yung ating split half method. And for doing the correlation analysis, we'll be utilizing this Pearson product moment correlation formula. It gives or it defines as a small letter n, okay, which deals with the number of samples or number of students, multiplied by the summation of xy minus the summation of x multiplied by summation of y, all over the square root of the quantity n multiplied by the summation of x square minus the summation of x then raised to the second power multiplied by n, okay, multiplied by the summation of y squared minus the summation of y raised to the second or power. So this is the formula in checking or in deriving reliability index in our test instrument using the Pearson product moment correlation analysis. Now, this will be the possible interval para magkaroon ka ng reliable test instrument. Reliability index should fall from 0.7 to 1. Now, take note that yung ibibigay ni Pearson product moment correlation formula will range only from 0 to 1.0. So, dapat ilalabas niya na value or index will fall from 0.70 to 1.0 para magkaroon ka ng reliable index. Okay? So, the more the better, the higher reliability. This is now the formula of the Kuder-Richardson, yung sinasabi ko kanina, of which we will need it in checking the internal consistency of our test results. Okay? So Kuder-Richardson symbolizes as R sub KR20. This is given by the formula K over K minus 1 multiplied by 1 minus summation of PQ over SD square. Okay, where KR, it is the reliability coefficient using the Kuder-Richardson formula. P here represents the number of students who got the item, while Q is the number of students who did not get the item. K represents the number of items in the test. SD is the standard deviation of the test scores. P is the proportion. Okay, P is the proportion of the students passing a given item. and small letter q, the proportion of students who did not pass the given item. And to facilitate the computation of the Kuder-Richardson formula, we will be basing it from this table. So meron kang capital letter P, meron ka ding small letter P, meron kang capital letter Q, meron ka ding small letter Q. Later on, imo-multiply mo yung small letters P and Q kasi yun yung kailangan natin in the formula on this part, summation of PQ. Okay? So ang P natin, these are the number of students who got item number 1, item number 2, up to item number 6. While yung capital letter Q natin, these are the number of students who did not get these items. Now, ang gagawin natin, since there were 10 students who took the exam, ang ibig sabihin nun, yung small letter P, it represents the proportion of the students in a given exam. So, how did we get 0.5 in this case? 0.5 was derived by simply dividing yung capital letter P, which is 5, by the number of students, total number of students who took the exam. So, 5 divided by 10, kasi there were 10 students who took the exam. Paano natin malalaman yung 10? It's by simply summing up P and Q. What is P? 5. What is Q? 5. So, that results to 10. So, ang ibig sabihin nun, there were 10 students who took the exam. And how did we get 0.5 here in the P? We get it by simply dividing 5 in the capital letter P to 10. Divide it by 5 or by 10. Okay, by 10. So, ganon din si 0.7. Bakit meron kang 0.7 kay small letter P? Kasi the corresponding capital letter P na is 7. It means there were 7 students who got the exam. So, 7 students who got the exam divided by total number of students, which is 10. So, 7 divided by 10 is 0.7. So, I hope you understand how did we get small letter P and small letter Q. Dito naman sa Q, i-base mo kay capital letter Q. Okay? So, ganon din. Then, after which we will multiply small letter P and small letter Q, and this will be your activity for today's discussion. Okay? About the Kuder-Richardson formula. I want you to compute for the reliability index of these given items, okay, 6 items with 10 students who took the exam. Given yung SD natin, okay, given yung SD natin, which is 1.02. Kindly compute the reliability index using the Kuder-Richardson formula, but before you do it, you need to come up or to fill up the column for PQ, the product of PQ. Okay? Now take note that K is the number of items. So to work on this, I want you to write it in a sheet of paper and submit it via Facebook Messenger. PM send. Okay, PM send via Facebook Messenger. So this will be your first activity for today's meeting. So I hope you understand the process of dealing with the second characteristic or second quality in a classroom test instrument, the reliability. Okay, so may I again end this video presentation. This is your second video presentation for today's meeting. So please wait for my third video talking about factors affecting the test reliability of an instrument. Okay, so this will be my next discussion in my next video. So thank you again, guys, for watching my video clip presentation. Bye.